And I know like a lot of people look at this and they'll be like, the mindset is like that's like, why does Andrew talk so much about mindset? Because that's all there
Well, it
is.
plays a lot. Yeah.
That's all there is. Like here's the steps. Like here's the little like. It's irrelevant, right? Because the first thing is you have to write it down. That here's my date. I'm gonna do it. Here's like what I'm gonna do, and I'm not coming back until I've spent 6 months.
So as I'm trying to look for a job, like obviously it would be nice if my work hours are more flexible. So would you tell me how to become a digital nomad?
Okay, so and like, okay, so first of all, like, do you want like the real answer or do you want like the weak sauce like answer?
No, for real. Like I'm really curious. How can I become like digital nomad? How can I travel around, still have my job on, be flexible?
Okay, so what do you do now? You had a job or you have a job?
I had a job. My last job was a year ago.
Okay,
Yeah, so
and what were you doing?
I was doing like marketing and sales and yoga pants company.
Yoga pants company. Okay, right. So, and you're like looking for a job to get in. Like what are you working on right now?
I'm currently looking for one, but
Okay.
I prefer like it's
So you're married,
yeah. So I'm married.
and you and your husband are looking to both do this together.
It's mostly me.
You want to do it. You're
Yeah,
gonna like leave him behind.
He already has his job and he loves it.
Okay.
So it's me who wants to do something marketing sales
Right.
with more flexible hours without being stuck in office and be able to travel and work from wherever I want.
Okay. So this is like a freelance, like a
Yeah.
or you want to start your own business
Um,
agency.
Maybe we do freelance for now and
Okay.
then see how it goes.
Okay. So I think that the first thing that's important is, I mean, you said digital nomad. That's like the term, I guess, that you see, everyone sees online.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think understanding the terminology is important because, like, I think there are people who are like the pure play digital nomads who would say like, Andrew's not a digital nomad because now I'm slowing down from like the dragging a suitcase to 30 countries. I'm down to like, okay, here are the homes. And yes, I'll go from here in Malaysia to like Cambodia for a week and do investment stuff. But like, you know, I think understanding that there are no labels, first of all, is important. Like what you're suggesting is what? You want to just be able to travel different places all the time? You like, what's the end goal?
We probably gonna stay around Asia, around this part of the world.
Okay.
But we still want to travel like Bali, Thailand.
Like as vacations or like you just want to kind of like do like perpetual travel or?
More like vacation. We would like to make Kuala Lumpur our base.
Right. Okay, so I think that this is kind of an interesting piece where, you know, there is no right or wrong answer. Because if you go, it's like the digital nomad, I think people have been conditioned, and even like with me, you know, nomad capitalist, they think, oh, nomad, I've got to be bouncing around. Like digital, meaning you're working online, you're controlling, your income is location independent. It could be put in some kind of, you know, offshore structure to where it's tax efficient, that kind of thing. Nomad meaning you have the potential to move around, but what you're saying is, okay, we just kind of want to spend part of our time in a base and then have lots of flexibility for like a month here, a month there. You're right, 6 weeks over there. Yeah, so, you know, my first thought when someone asks this is, like, if you like, so when someone asks, am I ready to start, how do I know when I'm ready to start a business? Like, if that's your question, maybe you're not ready. And so I think that there's a certain part of like easing into this and figuring out like, what does it look like for me? Like, what is that end result? What is the actual goal that I have? Because just saying like digital nomad is kind of like monkey see, monkey do. Like so many people are just trying to replicate what someone else is doing. And what you're trying to do is different. You're trying to do kind of like what I'm doing, where it's like, here are the bases, and let's just kind of have the freedom to go between them, and then from there we'll travel around, like KL to Bali, KL to Hanoi, KL to Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what I've seen, the people who are successful in like digital nomadism or perpetual travel or whatever you want to call it, is action. And this sounds pretty obvious, but like you're in Kuala Lumpur. You're not from Kuala Lumpur, right? Where are you from?
I'm from Russia, but we lived in Singapore for 6 years. We lived in Canada for 2 years.
So like what was it that motivated you? Like what got you to go to Canada?
Oh, we just wanted to try Canada. As simple as that. Like we spent 6 years in Singapore, and we were curious how it's like to live on the other part of the world.
But so you did it.
Yeah,
You just did it. Like you said, okay, this is the goal and it's going to be done. I think
Yeah.
like that's really the most important. Like, how do I become a digital nomad? Everyone I know who's been successful. I remember 10 years ago, the person who really influenced me to start traveling a lot. She would live, and like she would just take every weekend. She would take a trip, and like she could never convince any of her girlfriends to go with her because she just wanted to explore. They didn't want to travel. They wanted to go shopping, whatever. So she's like, I'm just going to do it on my own. Like, I'm not going to wait around for anyone else to go with me.
I can totally see it.
Or when I had people who've worked for me and they're like, they meet people and they're like, I want to do what you're doing, like digital nomad. And it's like, okay, like buy a plane ticket, right? Like kayak,
Yeah.
Skyscanner, like
First
go
step.
on. Right, so I think that's, like the first thing is you have to be like, you've got to write it down, like I'm going to make this happen. Like we all have excuses why we're not starting. We all know that person who for 10 years says, I'm going to start a business, and they never start a business. Like everyone's goals are to start a business, travel the world, like all these different things. But most people aren't doing it. So like the missing piece that I think got you to do the first two things was going to Canada, going to Singapore was...
Or Singapore, I really wanted to go study abroad. So, you know, being a student in Russia, like I was a student in Russia for a year, first year in university. So I was trying to persuade some of my girlfriends, let's go together, study abroad. But unfortunately,
And did they go with you?
no one, no,
Right.
like they kind of wanted, but there were always something that was stopping them.
Right, there's always that thing.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, like after 1 year trying to persuade someone, I was like, okay, I have to do it now. If I don't go now, it might not happen. So
Well, and so that's the piece that applies to anything. Someone will ask me, Andrew, when is the right time to move my business offshore? I'm already a digital nomad. I'm already living. And it's like, well, when it's more painful to pay this much money than it is to go through the effort of solving it. And so for you, the draw, the pain of not doing it was greater than like
Yeah.
the pain of doing it. So that was the motivation. So if you say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend 2 months in Bali, and I'm just going to go, we're going to book like an apartment, we're going to get a place to live, and we're just going to commit, we're going to get on the plane, and we're just going to go there. And we're not going to have a return ticket, or we're going to have a return ticket that maybe we use or don't, right? No, but seriously, like, you weren't waiting around for anybody to become an expat, to become a foreign student. Like, it's no different,
yeah,
right? So, I mean, why not just book a ticket and just choose a place and be like 2 months, 3 months, like, we're just going to go, we're just going to carve that out no matter what.
but what if we don't like it after 1 week or 2 weeks being there?
Well, I think that's part of the process of exploration, right? Is like, yeah, I've been all around Southeast, just so you're talking Southeast Asia, East Asia, I've been all around. And yeah, for me, the energy just isn't there in Bangkok, but I spent like a month there. I committed to a month in each place, and I was going and looking at deals and living and all that. And I just, okay, I don't really go back to Bangkok. So, I mean, if before you were married, if you wanted to be married, and you were dating, and like you met, like, and you went on a date with a guy who was just like didn't fit with you, like you wouldn't just give up,
Yeah,
would
I
you?
would look for another option.
Right. So I think people, like, you don't want to look at it from a perspective of like, I'm going to go to Bali, or I'm going to go to Chiang Mai, or I'm going to go to wherever, and like go into it expecting to hate it and like looking for the contingency plan to bail out. Like there's, like, everything's going to be a lesson. And you're going to be able to hone in on what you like and don't like about wherever you go to apply that to the next place. So that 2 months into Bali, of those 3 months, you're going to be like, okay, where's the next flight? Whether it's back to base or whether it's we're going to keep going with the suitcase. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So I hope you're understanding like the mindset. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because you've already done it. No,
Oh, yeah.
not everyone's done it. Like some people have just like been in their country their whole life, and it's more difficult for them. But the action is the same, right? So it's the same thing as starting a business. It's the same thing as going out and like dating and actually having a goal. Like you have to write down the goal. Like write it down. Like by April 1st, I'm going to be on my first 60-day thing, and I'm gonna dip my toe in. Which, by the way, is what I did. Like 11 years ago, I was like just planning a trip, and then the trips became really frequent, and then the trips became the majority, and then it became like nonstop. So that, like again, there's no right or wrong way, and I know like a lot of people look at this and they'll be like the mindset is like that's like why does Andrew talk so much about mindset? Because that's all there is.
It plays a lot. Yeah.
That's all there is. Like here's the steps. Like here's the little like it's irrelevant, right? Because the first thing is you have to write it down. That here's my date. I'm gonna do it. Here's like what I'm gonna do, and I'm not coming back until I've spent 6 months. And if you do that, like to your point, like 6 months later, it's like I hate this. Okay, great. It didn't work.
Yeah. Next stop.
Right. So yeah, I mean, go on with your life because it's not for everybody, but you've already done it to where, like, you've already experienced being in different places, and so perhaps that was the entree for you that's now guiding you to I want to be nomadic. If you had just been in Russia, you wouldn't be like, let me just travel the world.
Yeah.
Kind of baby steps.
I'm kind of like addicted to traveling.
You've become because you've seen stuff go happening.
I want to see more, and I really enjoy it. So it's very important for me to have a flexible job. Okay,
so here are I guess the 2 steps. Number 1 is if you have a job, so you would quit the job and you'd figure out, well, you keep the job and you say, okay, how do I save up enough money so that I can quit and like figure it out? So like, do you have some money that you have like saved that you could just kind of go and do it and figure it out on the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so like if you had a job right now, I would say, okay, like for the average person, how do you build up a pot of savings to where you can live in the places you're going to go for a year, right? So if you're going to go to Southeast Asia, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 a month. Maybe people spend far less. I don't know, but okay, $1,000 a month for average. Put $12,000 aside. Put it in like in a separate savings account, current account, checking account, whatever. Like get your own debit card for that. Like that's your money for living for that period of time. And so if you have a job, like that's what you need to do is like save up the money, and maybe start to build your side hustle. Like for you, if it's marketing, that means at night that like you're doing stuff to like start growing that business, right? And then you quit the job, and then you just have the plane ticket going. April 1st, I'm quitting the job. May 1st, I'm on the road, right?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Step 2, I think in your case is like you don't have something now. Okay, so you do have the money. You could just go right now. So you have kind of the best of both worlds, where you could just go out and kind of do the second option, which is you're just going to take the money that you already have, and you're just going to go out and put your full-time focus into creating. And into, I mean, you can go on Upwork, you can go on any of these different websites, on marketing, I don't know, all the marketing freelance sites. Maybe you have contacts. Maybe you can call your old job and be like, hey, or do you need people to work remotely? Doing stuff like I can just work from the road. Maybe I can take a little bit less money, whatever. So if you don't have a job, if you don't have an income, then it's just a matter of putting that full-time effort into building the thing up. Focusing every day, and that's another effort in and of itself. Where like you've got to be committed to being fired up every day, right? Like if you're not, it's never gonna happen.
That's true. You have to tell yourself it's time. You have to do it now. If not,
and you've done that like more than you probably believe. But like when you're coming from the job, there's like if you don't show up at 9 o'clock in the morning, like they're gonna fire you, and you don't want to be fired. But like if you don't show up you don't show up for your freelancing at 9 o'clock, like, and that's why for me, like the digital nomad in Southeast Asia, it's very inspiring. It's a great place to start. But after a while, it's like some people just kind of start to think small because it's like, oh, I only need $1,000 a month. I'll start at one, and they're never gonna grow. So for you, I think that the option is take some of the money you have, just accelerate the timeline. You don't need to build up money to quit your job. You don't need to start the side hustle after the job. You just write down your goal. Within 30 days, I'm going to be on the road, 3 months here. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to glean insights from that. And starting today, I'm going to be building my portable income. I'm going to be doing whatever it takes, and I'm going to build it up to X. And I think that's what you should do.
Oh, thank you so much for your advice.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon, and learn all of the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're already a 6 or 7-figure entrepreneur and you want to put these strategies in place, go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how to get some help.